the other one would be good.
Yeah, okay, so we'll wait till Greg takes his magic key off his keychain. It's probably not a bad idea to have that locked, though, for the record.
Oh, no, because people turn it on to 60 and then,
Yeah, and then they put it at 80.
well, then they leave.
And then they
So then
leave.
it runs all night.
Yeah,
Freezes
okay.
up the coil.
Okay, all right, so I'm gonna follow Belinda's agenda, and call the workshop to order. Why don't we go ahead, and so it looks like all five of us are here, and we'll do the pledge of allegiance. Okay. Yeah, there it is, behind Greg. I pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Great. So did you all see the agenda, the one item agenda that got published for this?
No,
Yeah, it was done for the record. You should see your face, Rich. It's discussion regarding proposed budget for fiscal year 26-27. That was done really for record purposes.
gotcha, okay.
But, I thought we could discuss that. I had some other things I thought we could also discuss, but I'm guessing you also all may have something. How would you like to, what do you think about it? You have enough?
You want more brighter?
Yeah, it's a little
Dark?
dark. It's like trying to keep awake.
That's like lounge lighting.
There,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah,
good,
exactly.
that's good, is
I
that,
just, the glare was
oh, okay.
for the folks at home.
Yeah, folks here have to be conscious.
Little print.
I mean, I had a few things, I can just blurb off I would like to talk about, just generally about the budget stuff. I also want to talk about the forecast for this year. Thank you, Greg. I wanted to chat quickly about what Rich sent, the financials, and the two other things on 6B and 6C on the main meeting agenda. I'd rather have a discussion about 6B, discussion regarding RFQ for district engineer. Maybe we can start that off in the workshop. And then 6C, what we're gonna do with the staff appreciation.
Yeah,
Do
so.
you wanna start there?
Well, sure, I don't want to do staff appreciations, I haven't been able to get in contact with another individual that I wanted to participate in this.
Okay, do you wanna explain?
Sure,
Which
so
one?
I wanted to do,
6C.
I wanted to do an employee appreciation for Jamie, for everything that he did to help and do what he could to help Mo. But I don't want to do that until Mary could also be here. I think it's important, and they just had Mo's service on Friday, so I thought it was inappropriate to reach out to her and ask her to show up today, to go ahead and do that. So I was gonna put it off until I could speak with her, so if we could wait till our next meeting on that one, if everybody's okay with that. Jamie went way out of his way. I don't know if everybody is aware of what he did, but he ended up crawling over the stall to get to Mo. So he was there on the scene, helping out as much as he could. And he is still, every time I see him, I saw him yesterday at the Mother's Day, and you can still see that it's affecting him. So I think an employee appreciation to him and everything that he did to try to help is important.
Do we need to include anybody else in that? What do you guys?
Tyler played an integral role that night and was involved, and then
Okay.
the other person who was actually the most involved was Daniel.
The cleaner.
Mhm.
Do we want to include him in that?
I think that would be nice.
Okay. I also know that Hampton Golf does their monthly newsletter. Is this something that we want Hampton Golf to include for what they did, or
Sounds like a nice thing, but what do you all think?
what do we think about
It's
including
up- I mean,
Tyler
it's up-
and Jamie?
That's up to Hampton, but I have no problem with it.
I think I'd probably talk to the family of Mo
Yeah, I'll obviously check
and see
with
if
her.
she wants that
Okay.
brought up or talked about or announced. I mean, I
Okay.
think it's amazing talking about the three or four people that it really affected that night, but I just don't know if.
Okay.
well,
Mary,
Yeah,
okay, I will
Being
ask
that,
Mary.
being that Jamie still seems to be affected, should Hampton bring a counselor in to speak to them and try to help them?
we have a phone number that has been advised.
Okay,
So, and it's in his employee handbook too, that there's a reach.
a contact?
Yeah.
Okay, all right. If-
Appreciate that.
Yeah. Next time I see Jamie, if he talks about it a little bit, I'll recommend.
Okay.
And reiterate that
Yeah.
there's a service that
Yeah,
he has in his employee guide and handbook. about
okay,
Someone to talk to, and I also talked to Tyler about that.
okay, all right. So Tyler and Jamie, and then I will get with, Mary and see if she can make the next meeting for that,
Yeah.
the actual meeting, not a workshop. Okay, thank you.
Well, yeah, I think it's Monday,
June 11th?
whatever that Monday.
Okay, the Monday, okay. I'll take a look at the calendar and see. Thank you.
What, the sixth,
Yeah, that was me.
the RFQ,
That was
okay.
me.
Can we just? can
Yeah,
you brief
sure.
on that?
Keith's aware. So
Okay.
I sent the email to Rick and Keith and Belinda,
Okay.
whatever, regarding the manhole paving situation.
Right.
And I was unhappy with Rick. So I said to Rick, I said, what is this? We were supposed to go 10 feet out in each direction. He said, well, I spoke with the vendor and I had a meeting with the vendor. The vendor said they were only gonna do 7 feet total. And actually they did 8 feet, and that's the contract that Jill signed. I said, don't be blaming Jill for what she signed.
Well, and Jill only saw the signature page.
But it said on the signature page, it did say it, but it's your responsibility to tell Jill what is she signing, and you, for the past 2.5 years, have been talking about 10 foot in each direction, 10 foot in each direction, and I went back to the meeting where he presented it, and you said 10 foot around. So 10 foot around means 10 foot that way, 10 foot that way, 10 foot that way, 10 foot that way. It doesn't mean a total of 8 feet. So I said, 10 foot around is 20 by 20, that's 400 square feet. You did 8 feet around, 64 square feet, maybe 80 square feet, whatever. Big difference, 1/5, 1/5 the amount of work that we pay for full amount. And I said, and then I said, some of the potholes, the manholes that were done like on Portofino are these jagged cuts of, it's not even a rectangle or a square, it goes. I said, we did not pay to have that level of nonsense, and he doesn't want to take responsibility for it. And I said to him, I said, and I've always said to you, don't just read up there, hand us stuff so we can review it in advance. And he never learns and he never does, so now we're in a situation that we have now these stupid looking cuts.
But they'll fade in.
But
The question is, to me, the question is, what did we pay for?
yeah, exactly, that's what I'm saying, well, they don't look good. We should have, and what did we pay for? Did we pay for 8 feet? Yes, we paid for 8 feet. Would we have approved 8 feet? I don't know. Would we have
The
asked the
result, isn't the result fine? I ride over them now and
some of them up Portofino, some of them on Upper Sarah are not that great.
I come down on my golf cart all the time.
I don't think, it feels like a speed bump. It's not, yeah, you're not going flying, but it's not what we were expecting, because he's always professing it to be this smooth transition that you wouldn't
Well,
feel.
they're naturally raised anyway. They're not gonna be level.
Right, the manholes are
But
actually
that
raised.
was the whole notion of going at 10 feet in all directions, so it would.
Well, it wasn't gonna level it. It was just gonna make it smoother,
Yeah, well-
which it is. So I guess,
Yeah.
to me, the only question is, did we pay for what we got?
Well, we paid for what we got, but it's not what we were told.
Well, okay, I guess I don't care about that so much.
Well, but I
The
approved.
result is
I
fine.
think what
and-
you're saying is
we
would
got
the
what we
price
paid.
have been different? If
No,
they've
no, I'm
gone
asking,
outside
did we pay appropriately for what we got?
I don't know, because we approved 10 feet in each direction.
Well, he sent a document that I got, I think via you or,
Yes.
I forget
Yeah.
which, but that iterated what all the measurements.
No, I know, I got, yeah,
I
I
thought it was
got,
more like
that.
seven or 8 feet.
I know, I got that, because I requested that, but the
Yeah.
point is, that's not what we agreed to pay for. So if we agreed to pay for 10 feet in each direction, and he's thinking 7 feet or 7 or 8 feet total, it's incumbent upon him to tell us what it is we're paying for. This is not the first time that he's done something verbally without giving us anything to look at to confirm exactly what it is we're buying, and we bought something we shouldn't have done.
We approved a price.
I think we approved not to exceed.
And not
we
to
did.
exceed. Yeah, we
We did.
approved an amount. So when you say we approved a 10 by 10, that's not what happened. We approved a dollar amount.
Not
And,
to
and the
exceed.
question is, does that dollar amount that we approved represent the result of what was?
Yeah.
No,
Exactly.
we approved
Yeah.
it not to exceed based upon each one being 10 feet in each direction. That's what we approved. That's what I approved. I would not have approved 2 feet in each direction. I would not have approved
All right,
that for that amount of money.
And
So,
I didn't understand 10 feet in each direction
I
because that would have gone up to the sidewalk. That,
Yeah.
that
Correct.
wouldn't have made sense to me, so I would have said, how is it gonna go 10 feet in each direction? So I was thinking it was 10 feet.
5 by 5, basically,
Yeah,
for 5
yeah.
foot height.
Well, 10 feet, 10 feet in each direction, so even if it's 10 feet going this way, I said, okay, so maybe it was just 10 feet by whatever width it's gonna be, but it should still have been a 10 feet roll up and a 10 feet come down.
Rich, I think we're overkilling this. I mean,
Well, but it's the
if
point,
we paid for what we got,
but we didn't,
and
that's,
the result is,
that's the point, Ken, we didn't
Okay.
pay for what we got.
you think we paid for more?
We didn't pay for what he told us, I did not approve.
No, that.
We did not get what I
Time out,
approved.
two different things. You just said we didn't pay for what we were told.
Contracted.
We all understand that. The result seems appropriate.
I don't think they're appropriate, and like I said, those cuts are stupid ugly.
They
That, I
will
mean,
fade in. The asphalt always fades in.
yeah, what, so 3 years, but it's 3 years from now, it's finally gonna
And
fade
it won't
in?
be 3 years. It'll be over the summer.
So,
I
okay,
just think we're making
I just,
mountain out of a molehill.
I'm just tired of being told one thing and getting something else. And he refuses to hand
I
us
think
pieces
he
of
was
paper,
using his best judgment.
and to blame Jill for signing it.
Well, it doesn't
I
say on the
have a problem with
signature
that.
page, but what I would say is I think it's been a long time since we have put it out to bid, if ever. And I think it's not a bad idea to think about doing it. You know, I like Rick a lot, and I think that he does have the district's best interests at heart. And he always works toward that. However, I go back to the pickleball courts. We spent a lot of extra money fixing issues that he said up there were not gonna be issues in terms of drainage, a lot.
In terms of what?
Drainage. They originally put pea gravel up there, and then there was stuff was flowing all over the courts, and then stuff had to be redone. We spent thousands redoing stuff. So I think, you know, I'm sure it's an inexact science, but
I don't know.
I don't know, it's engineering.
Why didn't this come up in the budget discussion? We cut the budget. Why did we all agree to cut the budget
What are you
before we
talking
went
about?
out to RFP? We cut that line item down.
You know, my personal view is,
I don't think we will, if we're solely looking for price, we're probably not gonna find anything better than.
Absolutely.
I totally agree with you. And
Rex.
Belinda has said that repeatedly.
well,
that-
and he knows, yeah, he knows the
And
property.
so I'm open to conversations, RFP, things like that. That's not my issue. I'm just saying a couple things. Rick knows the original schematic of
Mhm,
this
he does.
property. There's a lot of knowledge, and yeah, there are some definite bumps that we've experienced with pickleball
Oh, yeah.
courts and,
There were
a
major
couple of other
bumps.
things.
You guys may not
Yeah.
remember, but I
Yeah.
do.
So,
Yeah, I was
I mean, but I also
It's a big
agree
deal.
with Ken, we cut the budget.
Well, that was in the draft, and
Why didn't it come up? It was just a few days ago.
don't look at me, I didn't put
Because we
it on
can't-
the
we
agenda.
can't-
What are you looking at me for? I'm getting
It-
late
it
for all
wasn't
the
about
budget
all of
stuff.
Because
I
we
can
couldn't-
do it.
We couldn't discuss it, it's not a budget discussion, I figured it's a budget
It
discussion.
was a budget discussion.
Oh, totally,
But
yeah.
we're still going to wind, but we're still gonna have
So-
somebody, even if they come in, if there are gonna be that many more hours, it costs us that much more, then we're not gonna go that way.
What I
So-
think is, it's on the agenda, and I think at the very least, it's an opportunity to talk about some things that we would like to see done differently, like for myself, sending me a signature page with nothing else
Yeah.
goes against the grain, every single grain in my being. Because
Agreed.
I could be selling my soul to
And
the
then,
devil,
and then.
I don't know what I'm
but- no, but
saying.
but
And it doesn't say 10 feet on.
I thought
We're
it
just
said-
trying to
I thought
expedite
it's-
the process.
I thought it said 7 feet.
No, just send
You
me
could have
the.
asked them for the rest of the contract.
I thought it
I
said 7
I
feet.
could have.
I thought it said 7 feet total, but the
And
point is, he blamed you. It's his responsibility to advise us exactly what it is he's doing. I don't like the fact he says one thing and does something else, and then says, well, that's what the vendor said. Well,
But I
you had
think,
every opportunity to tell us what the vendor said before you started proposing costs. And
I
you
don't
didn't.
disagree with that. I think that struck me as well.
I think he's just doing the job he's used to doing and getting it done.
Well, but
which is
That-
acting in our best interest
It
at
is.
the least
It
cost
is.
possible.
Correct.
I think that there may be some communication deficits. I think
Yes.
this should be a learning
Yes.
for everybody that,
Agreed.
you know what, I mean,
Absolutely.
I've signed single signature pages too. I probably shouldn't have. So
but that's.
we all need to be better at doing
Yeah.
that, Rich, and I think
Yeah.
that's a learning thing. And
Yeah.
I think we can have a conversation with Rick about, can you be clearer with us next time and
But I-
give us something in writing? Because I think that's a fair conversation.
Mhm.
I think to do an RFQ right now, I'm not in favor of that. If we are in the year and we say, okay, we're not getting what we've asked for now let's do an RFQ. But to do it right now, I think it's the wrong time, given everything going on with budget and trying to get through this process. My
Well, it doesn't
opinion.
have to start today. I mean, it's just, we could go through budget and start, and we first have to put an RFQ together, and we're not gonna get anything together for at least a month, and we're not gonna get anything that's gotta go out there, and we're not gonna get anything back for another
Right,
2
but I think
months.
it's fair to say, we've talked about doing RFQs for all of our standing
Mm-hmm.
contracts. And this year, we would probably do an engineering RFQ. And while we're talking about it, we need to make sure we're clear about expectations when projects are done. I think that's fair. And then he'll know sometime during this fiscal year, we're gonna do an RFQ. I'm okay with that.
Like I said, I just don't like I just don't like being advised, because like I said, we have a fiduciary responsibility, we agree, I don't,
Well,
I agree.
I think our fiduciary responsibility is keeping him.
But
I
again,
think
we're,
that's-
we're,
Because you go
we're,
someplace else, it's
we're-
gonna be tens of thousands
we
more.
don't know that, but
I do know
but
that.
where are we spending money for other people's
Ask
errors?
Belinda what other communities
We're
are
always,
paying.
we're always spending the money for other people's errors and omissions,
Sometimes.
most times. When is anybody held accountable here for anything? And
I do think there were some overruns, some serious overruns on pickleball.
Oh, yeah.
Because of.
There were, I don't
It
think anybody
was,
would disagree with
we
that.
have the wrong sound panels out there.
Yeah,
So,
wrong sound panels, the wrong drainage, the fence was not engineered properly with the standard wind, the caps weren't put up, weren't secured to the top. I mean, there's a multiple things that went wrong
but I
with
agree with
that.
Cheryl, I think the timing is
All
wrong.
right.
But I think to say it's on the agenda so that we don't lose track of the
Yeah.
fact that during this fiscal year, we will likely go out with an RFQ.
Yep.
I think that's fine.
Fair enough, okay. So we'll have to figure out who gets to say this when we get to.
Are we going out for
6B.
RFP for legal?
Yeah, we had
We
said
should.
that we're gonna do
We
it
should.
for all
We
services.
should.
Fine, and then that's fine. If it's included
I
among
was
should.
gonna say, if it's all
half a
inclusive,
dozen
We should.
items, I have no
Right.
problem.
yeah.
You know,
Agreed.
because I think the challenge there is because of the broad range of what Rosetta does for us. It's like, what are we going through right now? So if we're gonna do that, the timing is absolutely critical. But I personally do think we have a fiduciary duty to the community to make sure, because, and maybe this is just what I took from my corporate life, but sometimes you find out the situation you have is far and away the best, and that's one of the reasons you do go out to bid,
I
is to
understand.
find out what you have
Right.
is excellent, and you need to just
As long
keep
as you
it
don't
going.
lose what you
I
have in the
think-
process.
Right, exactly. I think Solitude Cross Creek Solitude is a perfect example
Yes.
of us going out there and saying, wow, this was not the right thing to do. Because we had Solitude, then we contracted
Yeah.
Cross Creek,
Yeah,
and I think that was the name of it. And then all of a sudden, we were like, holy cow, this did not work out well at all, we're going back to Solitude.
yeah, true. But I
So,
also think.
while there is situations where, like, the pickleball courts, we've also seen that we really did have something that was good and we should have never turned our back on it,
Right.
the Solitude.
Sure,
So
sure.
I
But you
think we just
don't
have to be
know.
careful. You don't know, I
You
agree,
don't, you don't,
agree.
you don't know. And, you know, we've all seen it in our careers where, you know, somebody's there too long and it starts to get
Sure,
lazy.
sure.
It starts to get real lazy. And I think there's a challenge for all of our vendors because every 2 years, the management, you know, shifts in its focus and tenor. And I was thinking about that when you were talking, Rich, is that, you know, all of the people who help us run the community have to sort of like tune how it is they're communicating with us. And I think, you know, we're all pretty information needy, at least I am, with people. And it's got to be difficult when you come in as a vendor to try to meet everybody's needs. It can't be easy.
But I mean, you know, and I have no problem putting it off, but like I said, I've asked Rick repeatedly, stop just reading numbers.
So let me make,
And how hard is it, he has the proposal, how hard is it for him to send us in advance what he has? I mean, it's not real difficult.
No, fair enough. So why don't, when we get to that point in the agenda, then why don't I kick it off by saying, you know, we had a discussion during the workshop, and one of the things we discussed is, you know, in broader terms, you know, we need to always make sure we're looking at doing the best for the community and putting things out to bid, but we also think there's some feedback to be had, and maybe that's where you can.
And I still think, and even though it's gonna fade, it's never gonna match, and I don't think Frankenstein looking patch is an acceptable situation to leave people in this community.
Fair
It
enough.
should, you know, if you're gonna do a patch, should be a rectangle, should be a square. It should not have 7 different angles in it. Because it just looks unsightly. It looks like something you expect to be as a temporary patch in an inner city, not something that.
How many are like that?
All of the ones in Portofino, and there's one in Portofino that's even worse.
Because
They vary.
Yeah,
They
do
vary.
vary.
The ones on Pissarro are pretty consistent.
That's what I was gonna say, the ones on
So
Passaro
if
are
you've gone
consistent.
Pissarro,
The
you've
one
seen
on
consistent.
Padova is consistent.
I mean, I haven't been through whatever, I mean, I only see what I drive over, I haven't driven the whole community. I assume them all to be the same, but if you're telling me they're not, well, I've got a picture of.
They're not all the same, I'm telling you, the one on Padova is squared off.
And so are the Pissarros. It seems to be only the Portofinos that.
Well, and you know, that's another piece of, I wonder why. That's the other piece of feedback I think I would have is
It's Rick's way again.
I think the whole thing could be managed a bit more
I think
tightly,
we're
but
beating a horse to
because
death.
I look at the paving was a mess.
There,
Oh, that doesn't look good.
I mean, is that acceptable?
No, it's not, actually.
Yeah.
It wouldn't have taken much to make it look nice.
Yeah, I mean, that's the one that I see, so I assume that most of them were similar to that.
Yeah, not all.
Isn't that one by me, isn't
Yeah,
it?
that's the one, it's like,
Off
it's,
Vicenza.
it's closer toward, yeah, it's toward,
That's the one by me.
yeah,
because
but it's by you, but it's closer, yeah, it's by.
Closer to the
yeah.
club.
Close,
Yeah,
no, not closer to the club, closer to my end.
Okay.
You don't drive over this one. The one by you is bad, this one's even
All right,
worse.
so then you'll bring that up when, I'll kick it off then when we get to 6B and then, you can.
I mean, I just saw that and I said, this looks horrible. So,
All right. Well, that was, glad we had that discussion. Let's see. Budget, I know budget was put onto Belinda's agenda.
But I thought there was nothing. I thought we were gonna kind of defer that.
Yeah,
Unless there's something specific.
Well, I guess I do have I do have something I wanted to float out there, as we talk to, I guess each of us talks to Greg, about the budget, or if we do. I think it's important, if there's future direction to be provided on budget and budget numbers, where it comes from. Does it come from me? Does it come from you, Ken, as the liaison to the finance committee? Because,
I'm happy to meet with them.
well, because you seemed, I mean, Greg and I have been talking for quite some time before the budget review last Friday, and I think you would have preferred that he got some different direction, I guess, maybe, let me put it that way.
Mm.
So, I did the best I could, which was to, we talked about, where I think we're gonna come in this year, and to be conservative, but at the same time, if he has some things that he thinks needs to be discussed with respect to how the club is run, that should also be brought up as well.
Sure.
And that's what resulted in the discussion that we had last Friday. But, so, your committee's the one that's been looking at the actuals and stuff, so maybe you're the one who's better placed.
Well,
To have-
the finance committee last year had asked or hoped to get an advanced copy so we could discuss it in our meeting. Had we received it, we would have given them immediate feedback to say, this isn't what we were looking for.
Right.
That would have been helpful, but we didn't. So now here we are.
Yeah.
We don't have another meeting until first Monday of June.
And then,
No,
yeah.
yes, we do, on May 22nd.
No,
No,
the
no,
finance
the
committee.
finance.
Oh, sorry, I misunderstood.
So I'm happy to meet with them one-on-one to kind of go over what I think our expectations
Yeah,
are.
yeah.
So, do you want, I have some feedback that I'd like to give into the fitness and some other areas, because one of the things that I'd like to see are a couple of tablets for registration for classes. And do you want me to work directly with Greg on that, or do you want me to send something to Byron and the finance, Byron and Mark? You want me to go through you guys to put those suggestions into the budget?
You don't have to, unless you want to run it by them, but otherwise you can give it to Greg and
Okay.
we can discuss it
Okay,
as part of the overall discussion.
okay,
Because,
In some ways, I think that would be best because there's different committees, like the facilities committee has a lot of projects and different areas and things. But I think if it goes through finance and there's one funnel coming as one point, would be the best. Not that you and I can't
so
talk.
you want me to send it to the finance committee?
I would say that, and then
Okay.
I would say the same thing to Rich and
Okay.
Tim from the facilities
Okay.
committee. And then social and dining, probably the same thing. That way we get one stream.
You were gonna send us a list for the big facility, you were gonna send us a list of the priorities, you never did.
The priorities for what?
Kitchen.
The kitchen equipment? No, Brian made a presentation. He has all the equipment. He has the list. He has the inventory items and immediate needs, aspirational needs. That needs to come from Brian, not me, and he has the list.
Okay, because you told me not to speak to Brian, okay, so I can speak to
What do you
Brian.
mean I told you not to speak to Brian?
He shouldn't talk about it. It should go through you.
It should, but Brian came to the meeting and he actually came to the facility meeting. Or was it-
No, he
He came
wasn't.
to the excuse me, Rich. He came to the finance meeting.
Yeah.
And met with everybody
For
on the
reserves.
finance committee
For reserve purposes.
and talked about the equipment that he needed now and later.
Right.
So he has that list.
Does finance committee have the
Can't
list?
that be shared?
No,
Yes,
but facilities doesn't.
Well, they
Facilities
should.
doesn't.
Yeah, they should.
Somebody needs to send that, Greg, can you just make sure the list gets sent to the facilities committee?
I can.
That would be
Well,
great.
that's what we asked.
That way you keep Brian out of the facilities committee.
Do you want me to decide what equipment Brian needs? Is by my end. The facilities committee, I think, has the overall list, which is $188,000. The narrowed down list, which needs to be selected by Brian.
Which is what at the meeting, you said you told us at the meeting last Monday, you're gonna send us.
I've asked Brian. I still don't have it.
But did he
Well,
already present that to finance committee?
He did come to the finance committee meeting and he didn't narrow it down to the specific items. He has an idea of which ones he
So he
wants.
needs to actually write it.
He needs to actually pull the items out that he wants to order. He It's approximately, what was it, $80,000 or
Yeah, I thought-
$90,000?
yeah.
Yeah, but he hasn't itemized the actual $90,000 list out of the $188,000 overall estimate.
I thought we did identify those specific items.
I thought we did too.
Well, you were in the meeting,
I know, but
so you should know. Or ask him, talk to
I
him.
have, okay, I'll say,
And then convey
I have
that
asked-
to the facilities committee. It's not, it's just.
it's not hard, it shouldn't be hard, right?
No,
It's not.
So we were asking you to do that, let's just leave it there.
Yeah, okay,
Okay, great.
okay, good. Fine. I also thought at the same time, the other thing I wanted to bring up is as we come up on getting the financials for the last month, I want to make sure we have a good view on what the forecast is going to be for this year. So whatever actions, either on the top line or costs, we think we need to do, because I'm starting to get a little itchy about it.
Well, I think Saturday night's is one of the big things we should stop immediately. I don't, it's pretty slow on Saturday. Saturday nights are getting slower. And I think if we got rid of if we closed down on Saturday night between the kitchen and the tiki and whatever, we'd save a lot of money.
Well, I think my question would be, I don't disagree with you in principle, but, what does it mean? What does it mean dollar-wise? In terms of A, what kind of revenue are we
Right.
losing versus B, what kind of costs
Are we?
do we alleviate?
Minimal revenue, high cost, and it's
Yeah.
one of the challenge when Rich sends out the historical financials from years past. Great to have the revenue numbers, great to have the labor numbers, but what's missing and what I put together in an email is what days and hours will we open for the past historical? And we've talked about this many times, were we open for Saturday nights? No, but that's not denoted in the historicals. So when you try to do a comparison from fiscal 25, 26, having made the decision before my time, I don't know if it was before Hampton's time or if it was at Hampton's entry, that Saturday night became open. If that's not indicated on financials, whether it's revenue or labor, it's a big gap. The same kind of thing with lunch service and season versus off season. So I'm sure some of the years, and you can kind of see in the historical data that Rich provided, when the tiki bar came about, because liquor sales spike.
Right.
And different things spike.
Well, we have it by month. To me, at least for my own head, I pulled up the budget, the detailed budget stuff that we got from Vesta for 23, 24, and 24, 25, because it goes by month. And you can see what the actuals were by month, although it's not broken out by area. Because I think that's helpful.
It is helpful, but what I'm saying, I guess I'm not articulating it well, is you can see what the actuals are for revenue and payroll.
Yeah.
But you don't see what the actuals are for hours of operation.
No.
So when we look at hours of operation and limited revenue on Saturdays, similar labor, especially from the back of the house side, you see the front of the house drop in labor on Saturdays more so than the back. Partially it's because of the price per person and the stations that are filled. So the back of the house revenue, for example, on a Friday night might be $1,500, and on a Saturday night it might be $1,200.
Yeah.
Front of the house revenue will go from $1,100 to $600.
Yeah.
There's more of an impact because there's less bodies for less people.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, when you look at the financials from years past, it doesn't tell you Saturday we were open, or lunch service is another one. Lunch services is $500 or $600 a day.
Yeah.
To the back.
Yeah.
So are there years in the past, was it a seasonal change that happened? Did the change happen at Memorial Day and go back at Labor Day? Those are the questions that when you look at the numbers for its revenue and payroll, you can see the annual revenue and payroll, but when you don't see the hours of operation, it doesn't correlate.
Well, from my perspective, I mean, we can talk about this until we're purple,
Right.
because there will always be, Was it open, was it not open? One of the
Right.
things we can tell you for sure, we were not open on Saturday nights for dinner
Yes.
until Hampton came in.
Yes.
Um,
Actually, even in November, we were not open on
No,
Saturday night.
it started-
That
It started
decision
this year.
fiscal
It
year.
started this year.
With-
We had one
It's
other
calendar
run
year.
at Saturday nights a couple of years ago,
Mhm.
and it was short-lived because we didn't get any traction, so we
Right.
cut it off again. But I think the other thing I want to say is, from being here, you probably already have developed what would be most efficient, especially going into summer months, which is no lunch service
Yep.
inside, no dinner service inside on Saturday, but a limited tiki menu, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, or whatever you want, Wednesday through Saturday.
Yes,
Limited tiki menu, less staff in back of house, less staff in front of house. Staff hopefully will still get their hours for the Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. That's the proposal I want to see.
Yes.
That I want included in the
100%.
budget. We can, there's always going to be opinions, but I think everybody would be happy if we at least had a limited tiki bar
Yes.
for lunch. And then for maybe dinner on Saturday. So it goes through 7 or it goes through 8, whatever time you decide to go through. But I would just like that proposal.
I would like that as well, because, and with minimal revenue associated with that, because I think the key thing is that when we come up with, what our tax roll is gonna be, is we've been super conservative on the revenue number associated with that, and then we have our incremental costs, knowing that that is the price we pay for what Cheryl says, the experience. And I think that is critical. I'd rather see it that way than an over-bloated revenue number.
Right.
Yeah, I
agree.
agree
Yes.
100%. And I appreciate what you said. I mean, we've all gotten a couple of messages from residents, because I think you're right. We have to balance
Yes,
the, wanting to be prudent with the fact that we have an awful lot of people who live here year-round.
yeah.
Well, when I was running,
60 less.
the numbers that came back were basically, what used to be 40% of this community was full-time. Now we're closer to 60% of this community being full-time, and that has an impact, on the amount of people we have at the River Club all year long.
Yeah. Although, did you see the tax roll number went down by 160?
Although, that 60%, a lot of those people do go away for long periods over the summer.
Yes.
Yes,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah.
I agree completely. I told the person who wrote the email.
You're waving at her?
Well done, Rich.
I agreed 100%.
Subtle, Rich.
Yeah,
Okay, well, I'm the same.
I agreed 100% with that email.
Okay.
And we did not start Saturday nights until
April
No, we started Saturday.
24.
No, we started Saturday nights here in January 2026.
But
We
we did
did
have
an
another.
experiment.
Yeah.
We had an
2 years
experiment.
Yeah,
ago,
I'm saying,
right?
but
We
started-
did do an experiment 2 years ago.
And it
Yes.
didn't last very
Yeah,
long.
but
Yeah.
but we started nights, we started in January.
Rich, I don't think that's true. I started on November 6th and Saturday nights were open.
We had
But
no
it was
sales.
intended to be a trial.
There were no,
It was.
there's no sales and only Jonas in November and December on Saturday night, other than events.
That can't be right, because there were
Yeah.
been teacher
This
sales.
can't.
No, like main dining, I'm not talking tiki, main dining.
Well, in any case, the experiment occurred and
Yeah.
it wasn't successful.
No,
So, I think nobody disagrees on that point.
at least not in season, maybe for the couple of months in high season.
Not even
But
then. I don't think you can turn that valve on and
Yeah.
off.
I agree.
People won't change their
People get
behavior.
confused.
Yeah,
But I'm saying, but that would be the only time to possibly do it if you want to do, but I'm still for, if you want to do Saturday night should be an event, like once a month or
You're
twice a
right,
month.
then people will come.
Yeah, events are.
And then you dock the other 2, then you dock the other 2 or 3 weeks.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I also wanted to say to Greg, with respect to the current fiscal year, that at the social and dining meeting, I talked to Darlene and a couple of the members of the committee. The committee will try to help come up with some ideas on bringing people in over the summer through the rest of this fiscal year. Just, our ideas from a resident side, what we can do to try to help
Sure.
bring people into the club, so they've got some ideas. So we'll do that Wednesday. Cool.
by the way, I was here for Mother's Day, breakfast, brunch. Absolutely 100% fabulous, over the top.
Oh,
Well done.
do tell.
Great.
Well, The spread was phenomenal. The service obviously always top notch, without a doubt. But, yeah, the spread of food and the options and the opportunities to eat anything and everything you wanted to was, absolutely fabulous, so.
Wait a minute, you told me you eat to live, not live to eat.
Yeah, well, I did it the other way yesterday. I had swam and I was absolutely starving. I ate so much yesterday. I didn't eat again until almost 7 o'clock last night. I ate so much.
Oh, that's
Yeah.
funny. That's funny.
So do we have any expectation of what level we expect the community to subsidize food and beverage?
You mean like a
I think
50%
that's
target or something? Is that what you mean?
Yeah.
Like a percentage target?
Percentage target?
Because I think that's
Hmm,
a goal we should understand and then figure out how to get there. The industry would tell you it's all over the place.
yeah.
The high-end clubs, because I've asked consultants before, and you can ask your, the survey people who wants to, I think also do
Yes,
consulting.
yes, they do.
They will tell you it's all over the place. The answer is like a good CFO would say, what do you want it to be?
Right. Well, we've historically run between 45 and 50%.
No, we've been much higher than that historically.
If you go back over years,
Yeah.
F&B subsidy?
Yeah.
No, it's been
No,
50%.
it's not even been that.
Well,
Yeah,
last-
43, 45.
Yeah.
The last couple of years.
But
Well,
if you go
yeah, the
back
last
to
two- the last two
if you go back to the
2018, it was
if
running
you-
43,
If you
45.
go back to the Denise age,
Yeah,
who everybody hated, couldn't wait to get rid of, I would agree with you.
Well, the
Right.
last 2 years, the last 2 years with Vesta, I mean, again, you have to remember that I identified that Julie had 8 people for breakfast, 8 servers for
Yeah,
breakfast.
let's not get into
So,
the,
no, but we
the
had-
details,
But
Rich.
there was a lot of.
The answer is it's been 60% or higher the
But
last
that's,
couple
but
of
it was
years.
because of a lot of mismanagement and then a lot
To
of
get back
expenses.
to get back to 40% is gonna be
It's
dramatic.
a big change.
And if you go back historically, you're at different inflation levels,
Mhm.
and I'm guessing cost inflation has greatly exceeded price inflation. So that has to be a factor. So to me, the question becomes, if it used to be in the mid-40s, and now, and then more recently, it's been running like 60, where do you want it to be? What's the next reasonable expectation? 50? What's a target that maybe we should be working towards?
I would start with 50 for now and try to work, keep on improving upon that. I think we have to start saving some on that. It's like, again, I go back to, a lot of it was Julie's mismanagement of expenses and people. So that creates a number. I don't know if you guys got a chance to see yesterday.
It may be, but you know, Rich, I don't think the mismanagement was $200,000.
Well, you had $50,000 of expenses. So that's a big chunk right there.
Maybe.
So that's 5 points, 7 points. Then some of the labor, so let's say it was 10%.
I understand.
So that 60 to 50 is 10%.
Well, again, our expectations are better service.
Yeah.
That's labor. I would argue that the amount of labor we had during those years and now is consistent with the industry in Southwest Florida. I believe that from the statistics I've seen.
Okay.
Can it be a little better? Maybe. We have high expectations.
You do.
We do.
And that comes with a cost. I mean, I think our expectations
You're
are
absolutely.
higher than,
And
The cost.
the tiki bar creates challenges too, I understand that.
Yeah,
so if 50% is the target, we
Can I
should
make
be,
a
we should
comment,
be talking.
please?
I think that, we've been running more like 60%.
Yes, we
If
have.
at one point when cost of goods was much lower, we were running in mid-40s. I think to say for this budget year to get to 50%, we will sacrifice experience.
Agreed.
And so I think 55
That's what I was gonna say,
is a
Cheryl,
good
was
target
55.
and still aggressive.
And I would even go as high as 57. I mean,
Yeah,
if you want to split
57.
hairs, I would seriously go at 57%.
But that's kind of where you've been.
But, okay, but we're gonna gain efficiencies with Hampton having their time in, right?
Yeah.
They got.
Older facility,
Okay,
Yeah.
but you're right.
repair
But-
costs.
Mhm.
But we're talking F&B, that,
Oh, sorry, yeah.
so,
But-
and also you also have the 15%, burden in there. So on a payroll of $600,000.
Big savings right
It's
there.
$100,000 you should, theoretically should be saving, that could then be going to new employee, I mean,
No, it's actually going to insurance costs.
Right.
Yeah.
That's where-
well,
That's
but
where we had to
not,
shift.
not on F&B. I'm
Uh,
talking F&B.
Yeah, okay.
I'm not,
yeah.
consolidated F&B, so we gotta
I know.
keep, so I do the same thing
Yeah,
too.
but at the end of the day, though, what we're talking about is what rolls down to the assessment. And one of the concerns I've always had with these discussions is we confuse people who hear us say stuff and they mix up the subsidy with the assessment. And I think,
The subsidy is just a way of getting to the
because
assessment.
for
Right.
example, if
So we
we
have to
want
absorb.
to, well, and if we want to, because I agree with you, all of you, especially what you said, Ken, we do have high expectations in here. There are people who think that they're paying $500 a day and it's the Ritz-Carlton, and I got yelled at for 15 minutes because the pool was 82 and not 84. Or 85, heaven forbid.
That
But
was supposed to be.
are there other areas where, that flow to the total bottom line, that results in the assessment where we can trim up? I don't know, but I think we should look at it.
And I think the other piece is it can't be an expense-only equation, right?
Right.
You're
That is
absolutely
gonna
right.
kill us. So it's gotta be, you raise everything by $1, or you.
Right.
And then you decrease costs by not having inside lunch service. But it's gotta be some balance, and that's why I think 55 is a good number to
So
start
that's
with.
kind of where we've been. I mean, the loss last year was 580 on, revenue of 965.
Yeah.
So that's,
63%,
okay,
60.
but I'm
The year
saying,
before was 63%.
and I don't know if you guys got a chance, I sent out a new one yesterday, I did adjust for inflation. So I sent out a new email yesterday afternoon. So I did put some inflation adjustments in there, noting that labor doesn't necessarily follow the actual cost of living because labor's gotten more difficult. So,
And by adding an additional day like Saturday, that's 20% increase in labor with
Yeah.
not 20% increase in
absolutely,
revenue.
Exactly.
absolutely.
Right.
So to try to come down on that number after being open Saturday,
We should eliminate Saturday.
we can do that.
Yeah.
That's the number one way we're gonna be able to affect it. It's not by raising prices, because the expectation is to keep prices reasonable, and they should be, to follow inflation on pricing. But the strategic decisions about the hours of operation, nothing affects it more than that. So that's why pinning down the expectation, because here's the thing that I'm gonna face. No matter what I recommend, it's not gonna make everybody, there's gonna be people pissed off.
Yeah.
Sure,
We
absolutely.
can't have lunch
100%.
inside.
And-
And
so
I
you
get
get
that every day.
It's the 80-20 rule.
But
It's-
I do think if we set the target at whatever number, let's just say that 55%, then we start backing into those other numbers.
Right.
Then you can back into what
That's
your
the correct-
increase should be on food, on revenue.
Exactly.
Exactly. Do I need a 50 cent
Right.
increase, a buck and a half, depending
At
on
least
what's
gives you
going
a
on?
starting point.
That gives you the starting point to get where you need to be and how much to drive an increase in revenue.
And the other question is, being that we're also doing subsidies, the residents pay for that.
That's-
The guests are getting the benefit of our subsidy. Do we do anything there? I mean,
Yeah, no, there's very, very little. And just what Cindy was just talking about, raising the revenue is gonna have about a 10% effect on the overall bottom line. Changing the hours of operation and the expenses with labor is gonna have 90 or 95% of the effect. I think what Cheryl was touching on is doing a combination of multiple things.
Yeah.
With the hours, a little bit of a price
Right.
increase,
Yes.
and
Yeah.
keeping the expectations of how often and what menus are available in different locations. Because remember, you think that and this is an easy misconception to have, but even if we're closed inside for lunch here, but we stay open at the tiki, the addition of not just having a bartender at the tiki is at least one, really two line cooks, and at least one, sometimes two food runners. So if I just call it 3 people at 50, that's $60 an hour, 7 hours a day. 350, you know what I mean? So that just addition of the option to have $200 in revenue adds $350 in labor.
But you also have to say that $350 in labor saves turnover in payroll,
100%.
because you're keeping those people employed. And that's some of this equation as well.
Right.
Yes, it
That
is.
it is not, this is not an easy thing. There are so many variables coming into this that you have to address each one of them individually
That's right.
and see where the impacts are on the others. And that's why, Cheryl, I agree with you. I think it's important to say, what are hours of operation, and then work back, just kind of fill in the
What does
blanks.
it give
and
us?
pieces. What does it
And,
give us?
and
Yeah.
People who live here during the summer can't be told, oh, just because it's slower, you get nothing. We're still paying the same amount of
Well,
money. as
that's
everybody
that's
else.
what's going to have to happen.
Yeah.
If it's a 55% target margin.
Yeah.
It's going to have to, there are going to
Oh,
be
this can-
days of the week and hours of the day
Yeah.
that you can get a beer.
Yes.
Yeah,
And that is one reason we didn't change the number of classes for fitness this summer. We left it at 27 intentionally, because we didn't want those people to experience, oh my God, we're cutting back again because there's not the winter people here. Right, but what we did agree to was that when those instructors take vacations, we're not backfilling, we're canceling those classes
Right.
to make up some of that cost. And that's how we accommodated it this
Okay.
year. So we're trying to change and make that shift into this, we're not gonna always, take away from the people who are here full time.
So how do we operationalize then what we just discussed?
Yeah,
And how do we do that?
My suggestion for this meeting right here, to get everybody on the same page and on the same board, is I can tell you right now what my recommended schedule is for the summer
Okay.
and even for the season. Matter of fact, before we go to the meeting, I'll bring back on my desk, I've got a mock schedule. And I
Okay,
think I've
Okay.
shared it with Jill,
yes.
and it shows every department in food and beverage, what the hours they work are, what their pay rates are, and then it shows the bottom line. But you can't make one mock schedule. I have four templates, but I am not at the liberty, even though I have my own suggestions and ideas, those don't necessarily align with either what the board's recommendations are, and they surely aren't gonna align with the residents who are here all summer who want the amenities. And we have to do something, in my opinion, to make sure that people that are here full-time have amenities and things to offer,
Right.
but logistically, it won't align with season.
So is it something that we could discuss during the River Club report this morning? Are you prepared to do that?
With the hours?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Are
Absolutely.
you guys okay with that?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Because I can work backwards from that. It's one of those things. You either have to start with, what's the percentage of subsidy? And then I can tell you what schedule we can do to accommodate that. Or what schedule is the best for this club, looking back at history, the wants, the needs, the changes over time, and then we'll tell you how much that is. But to try to say, this is how much the subsidy is, and this is the hours we want to be open, those things
Yeah,
don't.
no, we understand.
But I think there's some kind of a compromise there where you start with hours, which I think we can all talk about today.
Yes.
And then if you know that the target is 55, you go back through that. What has to happen to revenue? What has to happen to expense? Do I need a slimmer tiki bar menu, so I only need one back of house? Like, it's those kind of things. That's what I'm looking for.
And
How
I'm,
do we, hours of operation are gonna be a pretty key issue for me.
Yes, me too.
100%.
That's why I want to talk about it today.
for me
but-
too, and me, the guy with Hampton who has just come in, shouldn't be the ones that saying, okay, this is the way it's going to be to make these numbers. This is where we need to know either what the numbers are gonna be or what the expectation is. And I'm good with that, and when you see the mock schedule, it's exactly what you're talking about.
Okay.
For the incremental changes, because basically the way I have it set up was to do in season with lunch, in season without lunch, out of season with lunch, out of season with lunch. 4 different scenarios.
Well, I don't think you need an out of season with lunch.
Not with lunch and.
Not with lunch in here.
No, just tiki.
Oh,
Okay.
okay.
But the incremental increase to add food service
So-
every day at the tiki is significant.
Sure.
No, that'd be-
Understood.
Well, 5 days a week. 4 days. Well, but see, you're saying, see, this is what you're talking about now is exactly what I'm talking
What
about.
I'm talking about is, how do you get to what
The 55.
The bottom line goal.
55.
Or lower if we can, depending upon how the numbers shake out.
I don't think it's gonna be lower.
I don't think it's gonna even come close to being
It- it-
low.
If you
I
look
don't even know what
at
the starting
I
point
wanna
is,
see-
the
I wanna-
budget that was presented.
Before you get it targeted, I
Last Friday,
can
it
see
didn't
what the
have
schedules
to-
look like, because if the schedule.
No, you're right. So I don't even know where you're starting.
If we don't go below 50.
No, no,
100% agree.
I don't
Well,
I
you
think
can't
it's
say
gonna
that,
be
you gotta look at, you gotta look at the
I don't know how you
schedules and see how that
put
fills
that
into the
without
budget.
All right, so-
Make a decision.
Well, so, okay. Should we discuss, then we can discuss during lunch?
Yeah.
It's 55 if I do it.
Sounds good.
You ready to come off the record?
Yeah, time for a break. So, my next door neighbor just texted me a picture of an alligator ambling across my